Well, hello everyone, and welcome to another edition of the DC Capstone Report. It's great to be back this week with you for another podcast on Alabama football. I want to thank Lance Shores for helping us get these things done each and every week. We couldn't do this without him. I really appreciate him in the studio making all these things happen. And if you hadn't had a chance yet, be sure and check out Lance's sites, RollTideBama.com and FreelancePictures.com for some great Alabama football content. Well, today on the podcast, in the first segment, we're going to review the game against the South Florida Bulls. In the second segment, we're going to take a look at our players of the game. And then our third and final segment, we're going to preview the upcoming game against the Ole Miss Rebels. You're listening to the DC Capstone Report. The DC Capstone Report is featured each Tuesday morning on the Martin Houston Show at Tide 100.9. You can listen live at Tide100.9.com. Well, hello everyone, and welcome back to the DC Capstone Report. Here we are in our first segment, going to review the past game against the South Florida Bulls. Well, folks, it didn't turn out anything like I predicted last time. I predicted a 48-17 victory. I thought we'd go in there and we would play our best and things would go great. I had no idea what was going to happen. I was definitely surprised by the quarterback change. I was definitely surprised by that. And I don't think I was the only one surprised by it. I think a lot of the players were as well. But in my opinion, I think the quarterback change really, in my opinion, affected the rest of the team. I think if you review the offense in this game, we didn't have any continuity or chemistry on offense. I think there were it seemed like we didn't have a leader out there. No, and this is nothing against the other quarterbacks. It's just they hadn't had their opportunities yet, and they go in their opportunities on the road. So I'm not sure what went all into the decision, but I'm assuming that Coach Saban wanted to give the other quarterbacks an opportunity to see if they could seize the quarterback job, and they didn't. They failed to do so in this game. Alabama comes away with a victory, 17-3, mainly because of some great defensive play on part of the defense. And an old school football play by the offense during the last 6 minutes of the game to put the game out of reach. But I think South Florida threw a lot of things at them. They played recklessly. They played to win. They went for it on fourth down. They extended plays with a good quarterback play sometimes, but the defense bent but didn't break. Held them to just 3 points on the day. So I think there's a lot of good things to talk about the defense and what they did. On the offensive side of the ball, I don't think Tyler Buckner did a really good job. He came in with opportunities to win the quarterback job. He did not do good. I don't think anyone can watch the film of the South Florida game and think that he would have won the quarterback job based on that performance. He was replaced by Ty Simpson, younger freshman. Has an opportunity, redshirt freshman has an opportunity to be in the system a little bit, but really no playing time it matters much when the game was on the line. But he came in and was able to run the ball effectively and then able to get us a victory at the end. But I don't think it was due to the quarterback play. I think it was due to the running backs and the running the ball. He did make one good throw, but in my opinion, it was really the running the ball that set up the victory for this one. And Jace McClellan had 70-something yards in the game. Roy Dale Williams ran the ball well, and he had over 100 yards in the second half. So it was finally the offensive line gelling in that second half, fourth quarter, if you will, to have one good drive with 6 minutes left in the game. But overall, the offensive line play was inconsistent. We didn't block well. We didn't communicate well. Tyler Booker didn't start in this game due to back spasms. We learned today that he was held out by the training staff. Needed another day to get healthy for the next game. Terrence Ferguson played admirably, but it was his first start ever. Caden Proctor, right beside him, didn't have a great game as a freshman. He allowed their pass rusher to get beside him, get behind him a couple of times, and so across the board, it didn't seem like we were doing very well on the offensive line. So another thing I think that was not doing very well was the play calling. I don't think that the offensive coordinator put Buckner in a really good place to succeed. They had him being a drop back passer in the pocket. I think it's been well documented that he was a person that's mobile and can move. Just kind of like he'd done to Jalen Milroe. Didn't place him in a position to succeed without his own athleticism. And then I think when Tyler Simpson came in, the third quarterback, one less experience in throwing the ball, there was a shift, I believe, in the offensive philosophy to run the ball more, and that's exactly what we did. And when the offensive line knew we were running the ball, they began to run, and J.C. Latham and Darren Dallencourt, Seth McLaughlin had some great blocks on those final drives to open up some holes for Roydell Williams to really gain a lot of yardage. So just glad that we came out of there with a victory and came out of there with some understanding of who our quarterback's going to be. If you don't know, if you hadn't heard already, Coach Saban announced today that all the quarterbacks that had an opportunity to start and play, some playing time, but that Jalen Milroe was the best, played the best when he had opportunity to play. He liked what he saw from him and supporting his teammates in this game. If you were able to go to the game, you were able to see that he was out there supporting both Buckner and Simpson and all the other players every time he had an opportunity to do so. So I think you come out of this game and Jalen Milroe is the starter. One thing that I said early on Saturday to some of the people that I communicate with during the game, some of the writers, some of the commentators asking questions or making some observations. One observation I made was this sounded to me a little bit like the Ole Miss of 2015 game where Cooper Bateman got the start. Jake Coker came on, played admirably. We didn't win the game, but he solidified himself as a quarterback of the future, and the team gelled around him, went on to win the national championship. Not saying that's what's going to happen this time, but I think that coming out of this game, we have a solid foundation now for Jalen Milroe to quit looking over his shoulder, everybody surround him and play. So what we're going to have to do is play to his strengths, and I think this team has the potential to possibly be paying for a national championship. Everything's on the table. All we have to do is run the table and win every game we play from here on out. If we do that, we'll be national champions. And so everything that we want to obtain is already there. So my review of this game is hopefully we learn from a lackluster performance. We come out of there with knowing who our quarterback's going to be. The team gels together, and we come out and play our best game next week against the Ole Miss Rebels. Well, welcome back to the second segment here on the DC Capstone Report. We're going to look at our players of the game. Before we do that, let me remind you our sponsors, RollTideBama.com and FreelancePictures.com. Go out there and check out the great content that Lance put up. You won't find any better pictures of Alabama football. If you're a band parent or a Crimsonet parent or a parent of one of the cheerleaders or one of the football players, you won't get any better pictures than you can get off of Freelance Pictures or RollTideBama.com. The Lance will be out there this week for the Ole Miss game in Bryant-Denny Stadium, and look for some great pictures to come from that game. And also our other sponsor who makes this possible for us to be with you each and every week is Karen Cottingham Realtor with the Williams Group at Keller Williams right here in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. However, Karen can handle all your real estate needs throughout the state of Alabama. Call her today for that game day condo, that condo for your child that's coming to Alabama. Or if you're relocating anywhere in the state of Alabama and need a place to stay, Karen is the one to contact. You can contact her at 205-887-4008 or look her up online at www.karen.thewilliamsgroupal.com. So contact Karen Cottingham for all your real estate needs. Well, back here to the second segment, let's look at our players of the game. This past week. On offense, I could have went one or two ways, but I went with Roydell Williams. I think he and Jace McClellan both had a good game running the ball. Jace averaged 5.7 yards a carry, and on 13 carries had 74 yards. But Roydell Williams seemed to have the better game in the second half. He ran for over 100 yards in the second half and ended up 17 carries for 129 yards for a 7.6 yard average and a touchdown. And I think he also got a touchdown call back by penalty as well. So I think Roydell Williams did the best job, and I think we have a really good combo there, and he and Jace McClellan, I think both have done good jobs. I just hope that we use them in the game, this upcoming game against Ole Miss, to play to their strengths in running the ball. On defense, I could have gone one or two ways on defense for the defensive player of the game. but I chose to go with Malachi Moore. Malachi Moore had 5 tackles and 3 assists and an interception. It was that interception, I think, that turned the ball game around where we got the ball back with about 6 minutes to go and allowed our offense to come onto the field and take it down the field and take the time off the clock. But I think he did a great job in this game. Malachi Moore, really a good communicator. Coach Saban talked well of him today in his press conference on how good a job he does as a leader in that back end of the defense. So I could have also gone with Dallas Turner. He had 5 tackles and 2 assists, and he had 2.5 sacks in this game. So he was very active in getting to the quarterback. But this week, my offensive player of the game is Roydell Williams, and my defensive player of the game is Malachi Moore. Well, welcome back to the third and final segment of the DC Capstone Report this week, where we preview the upcoming game against the Ole Miss Rebels. Well, this is a game that kicks off the SEC. Right now, all we have to do is win all of our SEC games, and we'll be in the championship game in Atlanta for the SEC championship. So our first task is to beat Ole Miss at home. I think we got an opportunity to do so. Number one, I think we've nailed down our quarterback starter. Coach Saban was very adamant today that he felt like Jalen Milroe had earned the right to be the quarterback at Alabama. He played the best of the 3 quarterbacks. So I think he's going to play in this game, I hope, with a little bit of confidence coming in. And I believe that if we're going to win this ball game, our offensive coordinator is going to have to call plays that play to Milroe's strengths. And by what I mean by that is he can't make him a pocket passer. You can't ask him to sit in the pocket and read defenses or read coverages. I believe you got to get him on the perimeter, roll him out, give him short, intermediate throws, and then run the ball to set up the deep play action passes of which he's so good at. He has a great deep ball, can get the ball. One of his strengths is getting the ball deep and letting the players run under it. And so I think we can do that by running the ball. Run the ball with Roydell Williams, run the ball with Jace McClellan, and allow the fastest player, one of the strongest players on the team, your quarterback, Jalen Milroe, to have the option to pull the ball and run. I think if we run more of those run-pass options, it gives him the opportunity to pull the ball and get out in open space. That's how we're going to run the ball in this game and take advantage of what Ole Miss gives us by running the ball. If they stack the box and stop the run, then I still believe you continue to run the ball and use play-action passes to get the receivers open down the middle. We got to have better chemistry and better communication in this game if we expect to win. When you run the ball, your offensive line's got to communicate and make the proper blocks to do that. Well, what goes without saying is we got to clean up the penalties and we got to avoid making any mistakes. We can't have the interceptions like we had in the Texas game, no fumbles, and we can't have any of these penalties that keep putting us behind the sticks. We got to come out and win third downs, and that means they're short third down, running the ball like 3rd and 2 or 3rd and 3. Give us an opportunity to extend the plays and keep the drives alive. So I think those are the keys to winning this game against Ole Miss. Well, we're going to come up against a very formidable opponent in Ole Miss this week. You know, they run the ball very well and they pass the ball. They got one of the highest rated offenses in the nation right now, averaging over 50 points a game. So how is our defense going to stop that? Well, I think on the defense, we've got to stop the run. We got to stop Junkins from getting chunk plays. When they run the ball and get first downs, they love to rush to the line of scrimmage and get a big hit down the field and stretch the field. I think by stopping the run, we'll make them one-dimensional and make them throw the ball all the time. When they're throwing the ball the majority of the time, then we can tee off with our defensive ends and our linebackers and put some pressure on the quarterback. And I believe he'll throw in some coverages that'll lead to interceptions. So the way I think we do this, we stop the run, put them in passing situations, don't allow them to play fast by getting multiple first downs with the run, put pressure on the quarterback when they're in passing situations, and get a few turnovers. If so, I think we'll do good in this game and come out of here with a victory. So I'm predicting that we come out and play better. Our offense looks better. And what gives me a confidence in that is I heard Tyler Booker talking today that yesterday they had a players-only meeting. J.C. Latham said, hey, we had a players-only meeting. Not going to talk about coming out of that meeting because what's said in there stays in there. But what I gather from the players that I've been able to hear from is accountability was talked about, and coming together, togetherness, playing together, playing for one another, doing your job and be accountable to do your job. So I believe, I have confidence that they come out of that with a great practice week this week. They have an opportunity to hit the field with confidence with their starting quarterback, knowing who that's going to be all week. Don't have all the questions floating around about that. And they come out and play one of the best games of the year. I think we come away with a victory here at home. We established the identity of running the ball and play action passes. And I believe Alabama wins this game. I got Alabama 44, Ole Miss 27. Well, thank you folks for tuning in. That's this week's edition of the podcast for DC Capstone Report. We want to again thanks Lance and all of his effort that he does back in the studio. I want to thank our sponsors, RollTideBama.com, FreelancePictures.com, and Karen Cottingham, Realtor, right here in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, with the Williams Group at Keller Williams. Well, that's all for this week's podcast. Please share it, like it, send it out there to all your friends, and we'll see you back again next week. We talk about a great victory over the Ole Miss Rebels. Until then, this is DC signing off with a big Roll Tide.